Hey guys, Anfield here. Welcome back to a new video. Today's video, we're just going to talk about the global lab changes that included buffs and changes to many classes, but specifically Ranger, Ranger Succession, and Awakening both got big PvE buffs on the global lab alongside a bunch of other classes. It seems that Prilobus's current philosophy is let's buff everything that's not Succession Wusa. So yeah, we're all in for a wild ride here, but obviously I wanted to cover the changes with you guys, give you my thoughts on the changes. And while I don't agree with buffing classes, I think that they should be nerfing the few that are overperforming, because I think it's a lot easier to keep the game in a balanced state than over buffing a bunch of other classes, which will inevitably lead to a bunch of new meta classes. So the cycle will continue, but it is what it is. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about first Succession, and then we'll move on to Awakening. Okay, so like I said, guys, we'll start with Succession Ranger, and we're starting with a nerf here, actually, ironically. Tearing Arrow and Ultimate Charging Wind, according to Tanzi's translation. Now, we'll get into that in a second. These skills will now do reduced damage in PvE. Specifically, it says PvE, so it doesn't apply to PvP, thank God. The PvE damage will be reduced when they're cooling down. So Tanzi says Prime Tearing Arrow and Prime Ultimate Charging Wind. Now, Ultimate Charging Wind, Prime Ultimate Charging Wind is not a skill, which is important because I think, like, when I first read that, I thought Shotgun, but that's Extreme Charging Wind, and Extreme Charging Wind is actually mentioned later by Tanzi's second translation down here. I think this is just Charging Wind. So I don't really know anybody that does that in PvE, in terms of just like charging the charging wind. So I'm a bit confused by that. Maybe somebody else can shed some light. The translation here is different too, as you can see. So strong second wind focus shooting. And then down here we have actual shotgun, which is focusing on the sorry, it hovers over, focusing on the super wind and shooting. That sounds like actual shotgun to me, which is extreme charging wind. So I think that's charging wind, but don't quote me, I'm not sure. But anyway, their damage will be reduced during cooldown more. This is a Tearing Arrow problem for sure. Even if it was shotgun, it doesn't really matter because you shouldn't be spamming shotgun in PvE, I'd imagine. Tearing Arrow you might do though, so that's going to have to be compensated down here. We'll get to that. Prime Nature's Tremble has its cooldown reduced from 12 seconds to 7 seconds. That's a 5-second reduction for Nature's Tremble. Tremble is obviously good because it reduces the DP of your opponents. Very, very useful. So that's a nice change for Succession. Now, they do say they fix an issue here that I didn't even know existed. So, yeah, interesting. Glad it's corrected if there was a problem. Didn't know about it, though. Prime Penetrating Wind. This is super interesting. This is a big PvP change. The issue where the number of hits decreased in PvP when linking the skills Prime Penetrating Wind after a specific skill has been fixed. So what this is that we found out that Penetrating Wind does more damage when used from the hotbar than from an animation cancel, which I guess we weren't sure if it was supposed to or not. Now we know it wasn't supposed to. So that means that when using Penetrating Wind now from, like using it from Razor Wind cancel, or using it from a kick cancel, or using it from Tearing Arrow, it will do the same amount of damage as using it from... That's a huge damage buff, so this will be very interesting to try this out after the change. Now, Razor Wind being buffed here by, almost 350%. This is a really nice change, as you can see here. All these skills are compensated by PvP damage reductions to compensate for the... So they should do the same damage in PvP, but do more damage in PvE, basically. I haven't mapped that out, but that's usually how they do it, unless they state otherwise. So as you can see here, the damage is going 1712 to 2054, so that's really nice for Razor Wind. This is really good for like Gyfin Underground and anything you could sit and back attack for a bit. This is really nice, and sometimes even just like small amounts of mobs that are, even if they're running frontally at you and you can't back attack them, still nice. It doesn't have big AoE, but it does have other stuff. So Extreme Charging Wind, again, this is shotgun. They're increasing the small damage, not the real big range damage, much more close range damage. Again, this is not something that you'd usually use at PvE too much. Maybe you would use it as a quick cancel and then go into another skill. So under those conditions, it might be worth it. We'll see. It's not a massive improvement in damage for PvE, but it's something for sure. They're keeping the long range hits the same. Tearing Arrow, so this is obviously the ability we were talking about earlier with the change to the cooldown. You can see here that the change is, I think after collecting this means charged Tearing Arrow, so we can ignore this part of it and only look at this, and here you can see the damage increase 1335 2,029. So this is a huge increase for PvE. Again, PvP will remain the same, and it should, because if they hadn't changed the PvP damage reduction and they'd just given it these numbers, okay, more power than God. Anyway, but this is an improvement in PvE, as you can see. But again, it's kind of crippled by the fact that the cooldown problem. So we'll see how that actually plays out. Whether that's better than being able to spam it, it depends. I don't really grind in succession, so we'll have to see how that actually plays out. I'll try to do some testing, of course. Now we've got Prime Penetrating Wind, and the damage here is being increased, same amount of hits. You can see it's 1688 to 2279. That's a big power increase as well for Penetrating Wind. So again, this is really nice. It'll go alongside other aspects of Penetrating Wind being used in various scenarios in PvP, PvE, excuse me, because sometimes it doesn't really apply too much damage. So hopefully this will mean that Penetrating Wind will be more of a force in PvE, but we'll have to see. Not too much for Succession. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I'm more indifferent towards Succession because I prefer Awakening. Don't think they're great, but sometimes a little can go a long way, and we'll have to see how that actually plays out. So yeah, that's Succession. Moving on to Awakening. This is where it gets real interesting. So Awakening, HP recovery, first off, this is something that they did for almost every class other than Succession Ranger, which is although they did do that recently, I think, for Succession. HP recovery effective Elven Rage has been changed from 50 to 140. So previously, Elven Rage, I think, has 6 hits, so that's 300 HP. So this is just over 800, I think. So that's a huge amount of HP extra, so that's really nice. Elven Rage is unprotected, but you can throw it out in PvE, that's going to help. Will it help in PvP? Maybe if you put the core on it, but I really don't recommend you core Elven Rage, so it'd be maybe clutch scenarios. It is a fast animation skill now, so yeah, anyway, it's worth mentioning. It's really helpful in PvE more than PvP, I think, but maybe there's some scenarios that helps in PvP. Nature's Tremble is the same thing as Succession, so we'll see how that actually plays out. Nature's Tremble's never really felt like a true nuke skill like some other classes have. Maybe that's because it was been bugged this whole time. Well, we'll see. Will it do more damage, or will it noticeably do more damage? I don't know. We'll find out. Now, the dialogue waiting time. Okay, well, this just means the cooldown's gone down. Tanzi does a really good job of... Obviously, Korean is Tanzi's second language, but actually true MVP for translating Global Lab for us, because this is what we have to use otherwise. Yeah, so... Tanzi true MVP. Anyway, Elven Rage, cooldown reduced from 10 seconds to 7 seconds. That's 3-second reduction. That's really nice. Elven Rage is a nice pumper skill. Does a lot of damage. Really nice that it's getting 3-second cooldown reduction. Again, HP recovery thing, so that's really nice for PvE. So, you'll have that every 7 seconds. Pretty nice. Tempest. Tempest is probably the most powerful skill in the kit, going down 2 seconds, 9 seconds to 7. That's really nice because obviously it's not dependent on the Wailing Wind cooldown, which can be used as much as you like. Wailing Wind does not have a cooldown to use the skill. Now, Nature's Tremble being reduced from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, another 2-second reduction. Finally, this skill is coming down in cooldown. I think, I don't really remember, but I think it was something like 20 seconds, 22 seconds when Awakening was first released. It's come down so many different times. Again, now we're going to bring it down 2 seconds. This will be really nice in PvE again. Tremble is our tier 3 add-on, so that's nice. Windblade, yeah, 1 second less cooldown. I mean, it's not a powerful skill, but it's a skill that you throw out because it's fast animation. It can work well with Tremble, so yeah, I'll take that. Guardian Wind, this is mostly irrelevant. Not much to say. It's not a really high damaging skill, so it's kind of an unusual skill to lower the cooldown of. But it's a safe skill. I saw some comments recently, and I won't get too far into it, but basically people that never played Ranger before think that these are PvP buffs for our 1v1. Of course, they're not, because the only time you're going to use any of these skills is if you're comboing someone, not when we're throwing around damage that we don't have in, a 1v1 fight, right? The only time these skills come out are when we literally have someone on the floor. And unless we're going to change the skill to 2 to 3 seconds, it doesn't buff our 1v1. But anyway, people have it out for our class, I'm telling you. Anywho, So we're going to look at the damage next. So this obviously pairs as a double benefit if the damage is improved on the skills got lower cooldown, but also increased damage. So let's say that the skill is improved in damage by, I don't know, 40%. If you can also consider the fact that the skill has then been reduced in cooldown by 30%, that's more than a 40% damage increase, if that makes sense, against a target that is tanky. So like your Olans, maybe your Trolls, Gyfin. I should be down in Gyfin a bit. Well, it depends on your gear. That's another thing we'll get into in a second, actually, is gear. But yeah, so that's important that these compare together. Anyway, Wailing Wind, this is not part of these skills because it doesn't have a cooldown. Wailing Wind going from 1244 times 6, 1816 times 6. Now, Wailing Wind can be spammed. I'm not saying it's going to be an ability that you can literally just press and hold Q and shit on things now, but that's quite a big buff in damage, so we'll see how that actually plays out. So that's really, really nice, especially because it'll be paired well with Tempest with a lower cooldown. So you're using Wailing Wind with more power with Tempest. So yeah, Tempest has also got way more damage, as you can see. So this is a very lethal pairing. Q and then spacebar here. Q, spacebar. So yeah, you see Tempest has gone from 1590 to 2147. A huge power boost here. And again, as we go up here, 2 seconds faster. So that's every 7 seconds you can pump that skill out with that kind of damage now. So yeah, really, really nice. And then we're going to look at Elven Rage. Again, we talked about Elven Rage again. The cooldown's now 3 seconds faster and has a almost 600%, in fact, actually more than 600% increase in power. So yeah, this is also huge. It helps Elven Rage be a big pumper skill. Again, you use Elven Rage nicely anyway as at the moment. And of course, at difficult grind spots, this is going to increase our ability to sustain, which is really, really nice. Dissolution is the flow from Elven Rage. Now, this has also gone up, but this one's gone up even more, almost 700%. So it's like 650-ish. So yeah, really, really nice increase in power for Dissolution, which is the flow of Elven Rage. Makes it worth using. Again, both skills unprotected, so it's nice that they have a bit more oomph to them, I suppose. So that's really nice. Nature's Tremble. So this is the skill we've been... this is our nuke that we talked about earlier. 10 seconds, so it's now 2 seconds faster than it used to be. But look at the power increase. That's 1,100% in power. Same amount of hits. This is, I mean, I can't begin to that's just such a huge power increase for a single ability. It's insane. So this is just yeah, a tier 3 add-on with what needs to be said. Regeneration, again, we're looking at a big increase, almost 500% here. The Seed of Nature effect is also, so this is the bomb. So if you use a regeneration and then you follow it up with a skill that can activate the bomb mechanic, then this has also been buffed. So yeah, that's really, really nice as well. 500% regeneration is a powerful ability as it stands. Windblade. Windblade, again, decent amount of power increase first on the hit. First hit gets a little bit of power, and then the second hit gets a bigger jump. So absolutely huge for Awakening Ranger. Again, I could... Maybe I just don't understand, but Succession looks like it got, almost nothing, some scraps, and Awakening got really nice buffs, which, I mean, look, I'm all for Awakening getting buffed, I suppose. I really would rather its APM have been lowered in PvE, because I don't want to grind in circles for hours with my wrist hurting. PvP, that's fine, not so much in PvE for me personally, but there you go. So it's huge power increase for Awakening. Succession personally disappointing, but we'll see. Especially, I am interested, though, to be fair, in the Penetrating Wind change. That's PvP, but still interests me. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. If you think that this is like, oh my god, Awakening Ranger got they must love the class now or something. Every class that's on this list has gotten similar scaling power. You can see here Petal Swirl, Moonrise, all these skills. I mean, where is it? Is it Kuno that has Kuno I think has skills that have 20 hits on them. Got decent buffs, 500% on a skill that has 20 hits is a lot of damage. So obviously the amount of hits on a skill does matter. But yeah, every class here that's listed. Nice to see Corsair get some love too. all this stuff is like huge power increases. Again, I don't agree with any of this, by the way. I think this causes so many problems. But if they go through with this, and for Rangers' point of view, hopefully for once we get something that isn't immediately reverted, made worse, and given stamina nerfs, it's going to be insane. Again, this looks like this is what they're going to do for basically any class that's not Succession Wusa, which is terrifying when you consider how some classes outperform Wusa. But anyway, yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the Ranger changes. Are you excited? I'm excited, nervous, because I've been through this for more than 7 years of playing this class where they give us something and then suddenly it's taken away from us almost immediately, and other classes get to keep their shiny toys. But we'll see. Will the APM be worth it? Where will our power scaling be when you consider the other classes are getting similar buffs? Some of them are better than us, some of them are worse than us. Like Corsair Succession getting buffed, nobody can really complain, I think. Her PvE sucks. So it's nice to see that she's getting some... I mean, this is even extra hits too. Cool. Yeah, so we'll see where our power lies, but no matter what way you look at it, if these changes go through, this is a new era for the game. Obviously, I'll have to make a ton of new content. One thing I don't have to do so far is remake the Ranger Compendium PvE guides, because all they've done is buff the damage. So the mechanics are still there. You just have more power, which is great. But mechanically, the skills still work the same, so I shouldn't have to readjust that. But I will make some new Ranger grinding videos, like the hour-long sessions and stuff like that. I'll do those videos. Another thing that this affects is Black Shrine bosses. So right now I clear Sangoon on my Ranger. I should be able to comfortably do it already, maybe on a seasonal Ranger. We'll see. But certainly after these changes, there's no way I'd be able to... I can just park a character there and get myself the permanent drop buff. So that affects Calamity 7 bosses, maybe beyond. And then, yeah, Ataraxian, I suppose, is buffed. World bosses are going to get downed really fast. There's lots of things that the game's ecosystem gets affected by every class getting, like, just enormous buffs. So... yeah, there's so much to talk about. I'm talking about it on my stream, so if you want to come discuss it, feel free to come by my stream, where I'll be talking about it a lot, obviously, because it's a hot topic. We won't get any of these changes for a while, and I can't test them on the Global Lab correctly because only the Korean players can copy their characters to Global Lab, and Global Lab is a pain in the ass if you're not a Korean player to actually test things, because it's so annoying to set up. So yeah, oh, by the way, this isn't Ranger related, but I have a Crocodile Sanctuary, and this is so cool. I can't wait to put this in my mansion. Yeah, so just wanted to say that. All right, anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my little off-the-book rant. Not rant, but like, discussion. I didn't script any of this. I just chatting to you guys. Anyway, have a good one. Hopefully I see you guys around. Catch you next time.